It's time for another day in the life video at the San Diego Little Angels Ranch. Today the sun actually is shining and we've developed a whole new way to do social distancing at work and a way to get the dogs to our recipients in a really safe way. And I just wanted to show you a little bit of what that looks like and what the happenings are at our ranch at this time. First stop for me is pack reviews, and pack reviews are something that we do very regularly. Our packs look a little bit different right now. Dogs have been moved around because we can't have all of our trainers coming to work and still have a safe policy for social distancing. But pack reviews allow the training director, or me in this case at this ranch, to look at all the different dogs and give the different trainers some techniques or methods that might help to move their dog forward in one way or another. It lets us keep up on how all the dogs are doing. There's so many little puppy faces at our ranches. It's really necessary to get out there and see them. Oh my gosh, I don't have a pen. Okay, Jared, who's in your pack? Okay. Oh my gosh, this is all different. I need a new sheet. So Sam, with the dogs that are fostered,
Yes.
are they still assigned to one of these packs?
Yeah, technically. They were never unassigned.
So they're still in the original packs. So like, where's Ozzy?
Ozzy is with Cindy Mitchell and a foster, but I believe he's still Jared's pack.
No.
Okay. And so Jared, you have Ruby. I'm just gonna go through these dogs one at a time. Maple,
Foster.
fostered. And Avalon, adopted. So, needless to say, there has been a lot of moving around of dogs. We've had a lot of really wonderful fosters come forward and a lot of really wonderful adopters for the pets that were released from service dog training. And so then it was just a matter of finding out who is where. Are they in our prison programs? Which fosters are they with currently? And what dogs have been moved around to different packs? And then once we know where the dog is, we get some more information on how that dog is doing, what is the next task that they're learning, what is their personality, how are they developing, and then working with the trainers to give them some methods on where to move the dog, what methods have they been trying so far, is it working, is it not working? Because again, we're working with individual dogs and their personalities all vary. So we don't have a one-size-fits-all training method for a certain task or obedience. We are going to change it up a little bit. Like we had one dog that was getting a little bit clingy when it was healing, and that's a tripping hazard for someone. So we had to give some tips to see how we could get that dog to heal a little bit better. And then another dog that we have that we're training for mobility has really been struggling a lot with turning on light switches. And this is something that that dog's trainer works on almost all day long and is still having some struggles in getting the dog to do it. And this dog can do everything else except for those light switches. So we got together and worked on a new method to get the dog to understand that they need to touch their nose to the yellow tape, and then the yellow tape is going to go on the wall, and then it's going to gradually move up until it's at the light switch, and then the dog understands. The light bulb has gone off.
Down. Good girl, stay.
That's nice. She went right into the heel position.
Yeah.
Does she always do that?
Most of the time.
And other times she would just sit in front of you, or she just wouldn't sit?
If I'm closer to her, she'll sit in front of me. If I'm farther from her, she'll come to heel.
Okay.
Sit. Over. Good girl. Over. Over. No. Sit.
too much, too much.
Now you gotta step on it.
You could also try saying alert with your hand a little bit lower to your
Alert.
knee so that she doesn't feel like she has to reach up.
Alert. Good girl. Alert.
Cool. Can you do a watch me the next time she looks away?
Watch me. Good.
Nice. Can she do a watch me while you're moving?
Yes. Pepper, watch me. Watch me. Good girl.
Nice. Pepper is doing an out of sight down stay. Her trainer just went inside her own building. Shut the door and everything. No. Down. Good girl. You're a sweet puppy, huh? Yes, you're a good girl.
Down. Good girl.
And Dominique is using a clicker
Down.
to reward her. So I don't know if you can even tell, but the light is making a clicking sound, but then Dominique is making a clicking sound with her clicker.
Good girl. Sit.
Nope, that is not what she asked you to do.
Sit. Down. Sometimes she stays up for longer and sometimes she doesn't.
Okay, well, let's see how
So
she
I
does
have to
today.
give her more treats in order to get her to stay up longer. Sit. Wait. Buzz up. Good girl. Next.
Were you that close before? Did you crawl when I didn't see you?
Like that. So usually before she gets down, I'll put my hand in the treat pouch and she'll stay up.
So I would give her treats incrementally, just slightly before she would naturally get off your leg, and then increase it just a little bit more each session. But they can't stay up there for too long because it's going to get their hips sore.
Yeah.
You could also try it where you sit against the wall on the floor with your legs straight out in front of you and see how long she'll do it that way. She would probably do it for like 30 minutes that way. You're being a good girl.
Pepper, door. Good girl. Wait. Hey, Pepper, come. Sit. Pull. Good girl. Good job.
Nicely done, Pepper. So right now I'm waiting for Dominique to let me out of her training room because no one is allowed to touch a door handle that she touches. So thank you. Bye. So our social distancing plan at work is very severe. I think it's probably one of the best policies that are out there to keep employees healthy. Our staff, not only are they staying 6 feet apart from each other, but they don't share the same dogs, they don't share the same classrooms, they don't share the same gate handles, they don't share the same tools, they don't share the same buildings. I mean, it just goes on and on. They even have their own individual restrooms. Every employee has their own restroom, which is, some people might say that's overkill, but a lot of our population of the people that we're helping have immunodeficiencies. So we have to be very, very cautious. And I can say very honestly, if an employee comes to work and they had coronavirus, no one else is gonna get it because no one else touches anything that they touch. When we have kennel maintenance on the days that those trainers are off, we have my son going in, and this is actually just a perfect situation because he lives here. And kennel maintenance is essentially like room service. So we have someone coming in and taking care of the dogs, cleaning their kennels, feeding them, medicating them, grooming them, playing with them, giving them enrichment. But when there's only about 4 dogs in each of our kennels, then it doesn't take that long. So my son will go in and spend about 2 hours in the morning, and then he'll go and do some online college courses, and then he'll come back out in the evenings and do another 2 hours. And right now what we have at the San Diego ranch is we've got 3 trainers that are working. It's really the only way that we can facilitate that amount of staff just based on the size of our facility. So as an example, every trainer has their own classroom space to work in. This building is our typical classroom, and it's got 2 entrances, but we've got Dominique using one side of the classroom and Jared is using the other side of the classroom. Our training field is also separated, so the trainers will work with their dogs out here on leash, and we've got Jared working with his dogs on that side of the sidewalk, and Dominique is working with her dogs on this side of the sidewalk, and then Samantha is going to be working with her dogs on the far end, so that they're not even walking in the same areas. And we have indoor-outdoor kennels, so the dogs get to come inside. They have indoor-outdoor access whenever they choose, and covered kennels on the outside. And then they have a play yard in the back that has gravel and turf. And this kennel belongs to Jared. I know they look pretty much the same on the outside. So this is bunk 4. And they have a really nice view of the creek and lots of shade trees. So on the trainers' weekends, when we have a different person going in and taking care of the dogs in that kennel, Kennel Maintenance is wearing coveralls. They have 3 pairs of shoes to go inside each of the separate kennel areas. So even the shoes are not going to be able to track contaminants in. And then for 2 days in a row, that kennel maintenance person is only going into one kennel. So they're not going from like bunk 4 into bunk 3 into bunk 2 and spreading anything. So it's a pretty good plan. No one around here is going to be able to spread anything at all. And then of course we also have our uber fabulous way of getting the dogs out and doing virtual lessons. Okay, I know it's going to be hard to hear me right now with the wind, but I just thought everyone would want to see this happen. This is Casey, and she is getting Bella. She's here for the first time to meet her. Wave, Casey.
Hi.
She can't see how big her smile is because she's wearing a mask, of course. But she's going to go meet her for the first time.
Give her some treats through, we'll do it through the ring first, and then once I see that she's relaxed, we'll let her out, and then you can say hi. Oh, you're very happy.
Doesn't she sit so regal?
I was just thinking that. She looks beautiful.
She's like a princess.
She always is posing.
That's perfect. She looks relaxed. So whenever you're ready, you can grab the leash and ask her to come out of the crate.
Sweet girl. Oh, you want more treats? Yeah, that's what you want. She's just so... Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I love your collar. Oh my god. Oh, I know, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. Oh, you're gonna go for more. You're so good. You want more? There. There we go.
Nothing like a little motivation. I have to say, it is a strange experience when we're used to having someone come out and spend 2 weeks with us to get their dog, and now they're here for a max of 30 minutes. We still have our handler training instructors that are spending weeks with them over the course of handler training. And there are benefits, of course, like now we don't have to simulate what it's going to be like at the airport, because the trainer can go with them to the airport when they are going through, not security obviously, but going through the lobby and waiting in the lines. they're gonna have the trainer with them on their phone. And we don't have to simulate anymore in a classroom what it's gonna be like to have that dog at home, because the trainer is actually going to be there in the home with the recipient. But I always really love developing a relationship. I have so many really close friends that are recipients because I get to spend 2 weeks with them. But right now it's just not possible. But it is good that we can still be placing the dogs, and I'm really happy that we have that ability to do so. And so far it's been going great. We've had several dogs go out that are all having just the virtual lessons and really no face-to-face instruction, and they're doing beautifully. All of them are doing beautifully. I expect at some point that there's going to be a learning curve, but so far we haven't really come up with anything that is a struggle long distance. So for that, I'm very happy. This is Eve. If you've ever been to one of our events, you've probably met her. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about all the positive things that coronavirus has brought about. And of course, we're all so grieved about the horrible things and the death and the sickness and the financial struggles. There's obviously a lot that is not good about coronavirus. But for a lot of individuals and for businesses, they're finding new ways to be creative. And some of that creativity has actually stemmed entirely new ways to do business that make it even better than it was before. And of course, it does take that creativity. And the nice thing is that I see with Little Angels that it has actually gotten better in a lot of respects. Like our trainers were saying how cool it is that they have so much space, and they were kind of on top of each other when they were all training in the barn. And the virtual lessons is another thing that just is so cool, something that we hadn't ever done before because we had the in-person sessions, but it's allowing us to handle training in a whole new way. So I think a really neat thing to do is to sit down and write down all the positive things that have happened recently in our lives or in our businesses, and just post it on your wall and remind yourself when the negativity and the sadness starts to get to you. I'm getting a lot of questions about how is my husband doing, because a lot of you know that he has had COVID-19 twice now. But the good news is that he doesn't have symptoms the second time around. Really pleased about that. He just got moved to a hotel in Guam, which is a step up from the cot he's been on. So feeling blessed about that. And it turns out that he was on a medication that made him more susceptible. And now the doctors have tuned into that, and they have him on another medication just to make sure that he's not going to get sick anymore. And I know it's not dog related, but we had some very special spring surprises come up.
Baby goats! Really?
Okay, stay here. Stay by me. Stay by me.
Oh my gosh!
Stay by me.
Cute. They are so cute!
Oh my gosh. Stay here. Just stand right here. Oh my gosh.
Adorable!
Adorable.
Super cute!
So when we got our goats, we were told by the breeder that one of the goats might actually be pregnant. But the thing with goats is it's very hard to tell unless you get an ultrasound. And I'm saving the ultrasounds for our service dog mommies. So we were just waiting to see if she would actually have babies. And she did. And they are so adorable. They're going to be really good to socialize the dogs to barnyard animals. What do you think? It's a little weird. a little strange. On the ranch, we have everything from dinosaur quads to rolling zebras to introduce the dogs to, because you never know what they're gonna run into in public. But I am now under the impression that baby goats beat them all. Besides, I can never really have too much cuteness. Well, as always, it has been a pleasure having you guys come along with me today, and I'll see you next time.